Hi, I'm Brandy Williams, founder of Williams Accounting and Tax Services in McDonough, Georgia. We're a full-service accounting firm proudly serving clients nationwide, including military families and U.S. expats. With over 20 years of experience as an IRS-enrolled agent, we've got you covered from past tax returns to business services and strategic tax planning. Visit WilliamsActTax.com. Let's get connected and take your finances to the next level.
Hello, everybody. Drop your city and state in the chat if you can hear me, and drop a 1 if you can hear me. Again, Trump trade is what you see in the comments. It's also the picture of the thumbnail. And land grab, of course, is in the comments as well. Some of you, if you see the ad on YouTube or Facebook, hey, take a screenshot, text it to me at allroadsre.com, Instagram, whatever. What's up? I was on vacation. I am going back on some more vacation. And I could talk days and days about mental preparedness and how you have to get yourself focused and ready for new seasons of your life, but we'll keep it pushing. So the title of the video is Why Everyone Misses the 1980s and 1990s. If you haven't noticed your screens, the internet has been talking nonstop about Stranger Things and theories, and really it was a ode to the 1980s. That's why the show was able to drag on so long. It was the 80s haircut, the 80s clothes, seeing how close to the 80s they got in the conversation, right? And there's a nostalgia there because we can all collectively remember certain clothes, certain ideals, certain things that was going on in the country, right? So anyway, drop your city and state in the chat if you can hear me and see me. That would be so very helpful. But let's get into it. Let's go ahead. We got plenty to cover. So don't worry, we've got plenty to cover tonight. And we're going to kick it off talking about, I know the one you want to talk about, but we're going to focus talking about focus and mastery. This one cracked me up this week, and so I had to share it with you guys. This is one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. See if make sure I pull it up. I think I can have a lot of windows open. Let me see if I can pull it up. Too many windows open. Okay. Here we go. This has just cracked me up all week, so I had to share it.
That's why you're trying to fight. Where that money at? You swallowed it. 10-piece, 12-piece, 16-piece, lemon pepper hot, lemon pepper spicy, crab leg boy. You ate that money. And now you're trying to figure out where that money from grandma. You ate it. It went out your esophagus. You either ate it, you wore it, you smoked it by way of hookah pipe or reefer, or you drank it by way of alcoholic beverage or strong Sprite from McDonald's. That's where that money at. That's where that money at this year. That's what I said. I'm just here to tell you. That's where that money. You keep looking in that account, trying to see what you can dispute. Don't try to dispute nothing you did because you go to jail. You go to jail. But that's where that money at. It went straight down their throat. It did. I'm telling you what I know. It went straight down their throat. And that money you're looking for in that account, you swallowed it. I'm here to tell you. You swallowed that money this year. That's why you're trying to fight. Where that money at? You swallowed it. 10-piece, 12-piece, 16-piece, lemon pepper hot, lemon pepper spicy, crab leg boy. You ate that money. And now you're trying to figure out where that money from grandma. You ate it. It went out your esophagus. You either ate it, you wore it, you smoked it by way of hookah pipe or reefer, or you drank it by way of alcoholic beverage or strong Sprite from McDonald's. That's where that money at. That's where that money at this year. That's what I said. I'm just here to tell you. That's where that money. You keep looking in that account, trying to see what you can dispute. Don't try to dispute nothing you did because you go to jail.
Okay, so this popped up. It's been going viral all week. All the comments are amazing and hilarious because it's spot on and true, right? People call Dave Ramsey all the time, and somebody sent me. I don't know who it was. Sent it to me. One of y'all sent me a thing from Dave Ramsey, and the couple's like making $300,000. He's like, "Where is the money?" And he was like, finally, he was like, "Y'all lying. Either y'all eating out all the time or you lying." And so the wife had to like, okay, well, we eat out. Me and the husband do our dinner, our couples date. And then, and then also I take the kids out twice a week. Right. And it just was funny because he's like, there's no way you making all this money and y'all don't got no money left over. And people really kind of, well, it's about the same cost, Erica. If I cook at home, I do this. That's not true. We had Tim Jackson on here talking about how he bought Whataburger every day. It came out to like $800 a month. And it's like enough as a car. You know what I mean? People are really not counting their money. And they be like, the economy, man, it's just minding the gap. It really is minding the gap. So I just that was so funny to me this week. I was like, I need to share this with people. They need it. They need it in their life. Let me play this clip right here talking about the 90s, and I'm gonna go ahead and kick into the 90s early for the conversation, but just part of this conversation they had here. I do like this. Hopefully y'all can see it.
So hardcore. I'm talking fashion, all that. And people just have a real soft spot because we all went to the movies and saw it on Friday night together.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore, bro. You know, we just don't do that anymore. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying it's different. And I think that's the real heart and soul of the decade of the 90s, which will have been the last decade to have done that. You know, Napster came in and said, thank you, we'll take that for free, right? And now Hollywood is imploding. Man, you remember The Tonight Show, NBC lot? I pulled up there the other day to go to Extra, okay? It is a ghost town. There's this big, beautiful NBC studios that used to be, remember entering it with your little visitor's pass? Like, oh my God, this place is so amazing. The commissary, it's a ghost town. It's only Extra and Days of Our Lives in this gigantic space. And so,
it's kind of amazing that they still have Days of Our Lives.
Right? Well, yeah. That's a cockroach of all soap operas. It ain't going anywhere. But it truly let me know. And I think social media has proven that celebrities are not as interesting or talented as people thought they were. Because when people watch, hi, I've got a worm farm and I got 9 million followers on TikTok. You know, just like the people are interesting. People are interesting and fascinating. So the veil, the thin veil, the fragile veil of celebrity is completely being crushed. You know what I mean? Which I think it's good. The good news is everybody can do it. It's also the bad news.
It's amazing, man. And Sugar Ray's still going strong.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, look, I am so grateful, as I've said a million times on this podcast. And again, thank you for having me, Steve. It's an absolute pleasure. I am so grateful for the songs that we have. When people come up to me and tell me what the songs mean to them, I'm gonna get emotional again. God, man, stop crying, big pussy. No, it just happened the other day. You know, that someone told me that, you know, my mom's no longer here and we used to always sing every morning. And I have such great memories and thank you. The guy was like on his knees, thanking you for that memory. And I have those songs with my mom who's no longer here. The fact that I could give that joy that these incredible bands have given me, it's beyond me. So I look at myself as the steward of these memories people have.
Okay, that's plenty. Let me see if I can play this. This is also a 90s nostalgia clip. A lot of people, all those 1980s, 1990s, Bobby Brown, you know, y'all name it in the comments. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anita Baker, Patti LaBelle, Chaka Khan, Earth, Wind and Fire, even though that one dude died, they used to have the hairpiece, right? You know, the Temptations, the Shy Lights, like all these really old bands. People are spending their money to go out because of nostalgia. And what he said is you all had a time where you had water cooler talk. And I think I missed that in the video. I'm sorry. I meant to go a little further back a little bit, but it might have been here. Hold on.
It was the last time we all shared water cooler talk.
That's really, really interesting of a point.
I'm gonna go here.
Clock on Thursdays on NBC at the same time. It was the last time we all shared entertainment together. Now, when I say that, meaning like new videos came out on Friday. We all saw it at the same time. Records came out on Tuesday. We watched Seinfeld on 9 o'clock on Thursdays on NBC.
We didn't watch Seinfeld. We watched Living Single. We watched Girlfriends. We watched, what's the mother shows we were watching That's So Raven. You know, we was watching the kids shows. We was watching Nickelodeon. They were sliming people, all that stuff. But let me keep going.
At the same time. It was the last time we all shared water cooler talk.
That's really, really.
And so I will say that is the last time everybody felt plugged into the same conversations. That's the best way to say it. We were all plugged in. Family matters. That's right. Martin, smart guy. Frankie Beverly Mays. Yeah, he even died this year, right? You know, it's like we got to see Arsenio Hall, The Cosby Show, A Different World. Thank y'all so much in the comments. Because that was really like Moesha, Steve Harvey, Fresh Prince, like CW Network, all these WB. They basically had black shows that came in the 90s. Like you saw black people everywhere in the 90s. And the college enrollment for when Different World came out, college enrollment at historically black colleges went up 3x all across the nation. Didn't matter the school. Every single school went up 3x. And it's the exposure principle. People were constantly exposed. So when you see all these reality TVs and girls are fighting and stupid crap, it's what people are exposing, right? MTV is ending their music. Yeah, it's the last. It's like a closing of a decade, right? Seinfeld. I just never got into it. Just didn't get to it. Reading the same books, watching that Jamie Foxx show, right? A lot of that stuff, that's that last moment where we all were kind of could come somewhere and talk about it. So again, I'm gonna show you this clip because this is good. I love it, even though I'm gonna play the music and I'm gonna get copyright strike. I don't care. I'm doing a $20 million project this year. I don't care. YouTube can do whatever it wants. As long as it doesn't delete the channel in which we have half this stuff backed up, I don't care. So here we go. Let's go.
If you held yourself up to the light, and the end is never fade. If you city by the lake, the place where you will believe in me. Is never time at all. You can never ever leave without leaving a piece of you.
Oh no! Oh no!
The business.
Cut it out! I was just trying to mute it. Okay. Okay, there we go. I was saying Spice Girls and Living Color, Michael Jordan playing, Big Lebowski, Family Matters, Nirvana, OJ and the Bronco, Clueless. Them girls still look that age. That's Saturday Night Live. Chris Farley craziness. Dr. Dre when he was acting like he was tough. Princess Diana dying. Lion King. Okay, come on. Baywatch, y'all. Come on. Charlotte Hornets jackets, starter jackets. We were living, y'all. Okay, we were living. Anyway, I just had to show Boys to Men. Oh, John Benet Ramsey, that was sad. Jumanji, or is that Robin Hood? What do you call that thing? Anyway, so look, I just had to go over that because I just thought that was such a good little video. They did a good composite of stuff. Gin and Juice, MTV, Aaliyah, yeah, all that stuff. People got good memory for that. And I bring it up, Baywatch, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the last time we all could talk about those things, right? And when people have a lack of a central thing to talk about, unfortunately, sometimes they talk about each other. That just does happen, right? And you're seeing that even now on YouTube. When people don't have they're not interesting, they ain't doing nothing with their life, they're talking about other people, right? Like, I may use it as an example, but they're straight up talking about other people because they ain't got shit going on with them. I'm just gonna say that. That's just the truth. They don't have nothing going on. And so this is the only way they can is to tear down other people. That's how they're gonna work. Okay. So I wanted to bring that up about the 1990s. I just think that's so important because people are gonna miss it, right? Memento, yeah, Fight Club, all that stuff. But there's some really good content I want to go over. So let me go over it before we get to the whole United States, China, Venezuela thing, because that's heavy enough. I want to start to show off light with the little funny about you eating your money. You're eating it. Because I think it's funny. The 1990s lured people to sleep. There are some major opportunities to capitalize on the 90s. Yes. But people were busy having fun, enjoying $1 gas, $300 rent for 700 square feet. Man, do you know how many times we go online and everybody talking about, I wish it could go back to $800 apartments and $1 gas. You know how many times I go on Facebook and see that? I'd be like, y'all really can't be down this bad. When you talk to older Black people, and I'm being careful here, but I say it all the time, I call them 1994 Black people. The peak of their life was 1994, and everything's been down ever since. You know, there was all these good jobs. I remember I was in college somewhere working at Target, and that's before I went to work for the Red Cross. And they were all like, "Oh, you used to have all these good jobs and do all this stuff," and I was just like, "Couldn't have been that great, right?" Or we had I think after it was like Iraq War was wrapping up. Or was it in between? It might have been in between. This woman was like, her and her husband, they went overseas and they did mail, and they made $100,000 and some change as contractors. And they was overweight, and they just, that's when they were taking everybody, right? And she was saying they made all that money, they traveled around the world, they lived a good life, then they came back home. And a year and a half later, her husband died and fell over from a heart attack. And then she found out he ain't paid no taxes. Like the government was like, let me tell you what we're gonna do. We about to go in his account and take all the money. And she was saying, oh, I could have just dug him up and killed him again. And everybody's laughing, enjoying her conversation. I was just like, well, what you do with all the money? And she looked at me like that older Black woman, like I'm gonna slap you look. I was living. I had cars. I had stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, but now you working at Lowe's. When you made 100,000 3 years in a row, why'd y'all save the money? Y'all was old. You in your late 60s. Like, it was a fluke that y'all even got to go to Iraq and sort the mail. They shouldn't have took y'all in the first place. Y'all was too old. But this is the stuff people think they have forever. And you really can't talk to them because they have this, the 1990s was the best, the Clinton years. And, you get where I'm going with this. But I'm going to play this. Now, why I'm going to play this is because I talk to a lot of people and they go, well, how you doing all that? How you going there? And I'm like, I just make a plan and I go. And you'd be amazed how adults will look at you like that's the craziest thing they've ever heard. And you'd be like, yeah, I just made a plan and I just decided to go. And, that's how it happened. And they just be looking at me like, wow, that's real crazy. And I'll be like, the questions are always, there's something somebody says that's close to me and they say, stop stealing their phrases, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Stop acting dumb and playing dumb. It's one of the fastest ways to piss me off in a conversation is I will talk to somebody and they be playing dumb, acting dumb. How? When? Where? How did you get there? And I'd be like, come on, baby, you ain't stupid like that. You ain't made it to 40, 50, 60 and being this dumb. You ain't made it this far like this. You know exactly where you are and how you got here. Just like when people over 25 to my whoops, I fell down pregnant, baby, that was a plan. Whether you subconsciously won't say it out loud because you're scared we're going to call you stupid, it was a plan. It just happened. I just fell down pregnant. Girl, that's not how that worked. That's not how that works. Stop playing dumb with me. The quickest way to piss me off in a conversation is to play stupid after I explain something to you. Or I explain it twice and you're like, but how? That's the quickest way for me to want to punch you dead in your face. I'll be looking at people like, now you playing stupid with me. I don't like that. We live in a time and age where these cell phones are in our hands. So this like, explain it to me like I'm two. You got to miss me with that. We not in that society. We really are. It's about to speed up and they about to close the door on a lot of stuff. Like I'm gonna show you something about Massachusetts in a second. But I really want y'all to get this honed in about focus and getting over the average hump. So let me go here first. Let me play this.
You want to attain professional success where you've got to make a commitment and a sacrifice. If you want to be normal, that's fine. But the guy down in Tuscaloosa used to say, normal equals average. You want to be great, you got to do some special things to be great. The guy down in Tuscaloosa used to say, normal equals average. All of us face adversity every single day. Part of being successful is overcoming obstacles, learning from failure, not being affected by success, staying humble and hungry every single day. And high achievers and strivers understand that, and that's why they get to that point. And you got to be driven. There's certain levels in life if you want to attain professional success where you've got to make a commitment and a sacrifice. If you want to be normal, that's fine. But
So I just want to play that because it's so important. Many people will be like, oh, these rich people rubbing it in our faces and they're on Instagram and they're stunting on us. They're not stunting, y'all. They're living their life. They're not stunting. They're living their life. And it feels like bragging because you ain't there, but you have to take an inventory of your mental self. Have I planned a life that was extraordinary? Hell no. Most of you have not. Not saying anybody watching this channel, but I'm saying in general, y'all know somebody who just been floating. And I have several members that are like extended family who like, hey, Erica, they said you could help me set this up. And I said, set up what? My retirement. I'll be like, you 50 something years old. Who sent you over here to me? Well, Erica, you can set it up. And thank God, most of the people in my family and extended family have land or they have something they can use. I go, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build a triplex, a 1-story triplex over here on this corner of your land. We're going to go to the city, get it zoned and just siphon off this little part. And this is how you're going to have retirement. You're going to have 55 plus apartments. You're going to call them apartments for 55 plus. So that way you just got old people in them. You ain't going to have no drama. But you ain't going to have high rents, but you ain't going to have a lot of noise. And they're like, oh my God, this is so great. And I'm like, all right, now we got to go to the bank and get pre-approved. What? Pre-approved? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, pre-approved. Like, how we going to build these property? We going to build this out of thin air? We're going to build it with our hearts and imaginations? Nah, baby, you got to pay for this. So a lot of people are waking up and realizing they haven't planned for retirement. One of the fastest growing segments of people that are homeless are, I think it was like 55 to 62 or something like that. I have to go back and look at the data, but it's because people have done what was average. I'm going to just do a little bit of this. I'm going to show up alert a little bit. I'm going to do the basics and then be looking up like, I can't believe I don't have no money for retirement. You don't? You can't believe that? Oh, ooh, that's scary. Okay. Now, here's why this is important. Some of y'all are like, Erica, good gracious. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. This is why this is important. I really want to show y'all this part. And this is so important. I don't know if y'all are understanding what I'm saying when I do these shows. I do talk in code a little bit because I already know. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like, she a conspiracy. Now, I'm going to show you this. This is important. Let me make it bigger, though.
Would require MassDOT to set goals to reduce the number of statewide driving miles. It would also establish a new council to find ways to make public transportation more accessible for residents. Now, critics say a cap on personal vehicle miles would directly impact those in rural parts of the state. Bill proposed in Massachusetts would limit how far you can drive in your own car. So lawmakers say it would help reduce the state's greenhouse gas emissions. Now, while no specific mileage limit was listed, the bill would require MassDOT to set goals to reduce the number of statewide driving miles. It would also establish a new council to find ways to make public transportation more accessible.
Now, let me tell you what this is. Let me tell you what this bill is, and in the clearest way I can explain it to you. People are leaving the cities, y'all. I know y'all never believe me when I talk about people living in the city. I know y'all was like, Erica, no, you just saying that. Listen, people, the data shows people are leaving the north and they're leaving. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what TikTok you watch. The data does not support it. People are leaving New York. They're leaving Massachusetts. They're leaving Pennsylvania. They're leaving Chicago. So what can you do to reverse this? Because here's the second part. Not only are they leaving the cities to go south, they're leaving the city to go to the rural towns to take a break on taxes, to take a break on a lot of things. And they'll just pay more in what? Gas and commuting time. So guess what happens? The cities are like, how can we force them back into the city? Now, here's two things that happened this past year. Did y'all pay attention? Y'all might have already forgot it because you don't live in New York. New York had that, oh God, what's the name of it? It was like commuter fee. It was like, what was that thing they had in New York where they had all the cameras and they were charging people? Essentially, it was a commuter fee, right? And it was like going to charge people every day to drive into New York. Most people are leaving New York 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour. They don't care. They got New Jersey somewhere. They don't want to be there because the taxes, the crime, the schools, they're terrible. They just are. They're terrible. Right? And so what happens, okay? What happens is the cities are like, cool, we'll keep taxing you. They're going to they're going to make this tax so high. You're going to be like, damn, we might as well just move into the city. right? But most people will do the math and be like, no, the amount of house I get, the amount of peace, the noise, they're not going to do it. So cities are trying to figure out a way, how can we force you through death by 1,000 cuts? Because if you don't have a good car and you live 40 minutes away from the city, now you're trying to figure it out. Like, oh, oh God, is there a bus? Is there a shuttle? I remember my cousin lived in Douglasville in Atlanta. And she had a beautiful 2-story, double deck, basement finished house. Bought it for like 100. This is a minute ago, because y'all gonna be like, Douglasville is expensive. She got this house for 100. Hundo. And I mean, it was beautiful new construction. And she used to do park at the parking ride. And my family was like, I would never live somewhere where I had to park my car, get in a van, get in a bus, and get further into the city. And she was like, well, that's just how it is. And my family could never understand. They're like, that's crazy, right? But what you have to understand is that's what they want. They want your car to be useless to you. They're closing the door. Like a lot of people, when I tell y'all that 80% of the GDP is in 20 cities, yes, New York is one of those cities. Yes, Chicago is one of those cities. Yes, LA is still one of those cities. But a majority of these second tier and third tier and rural areas are on the come up. People can get a new house. They can get a little bit of yard. Even all this campaigning I see from Ohio, Chicago, and what's the other? Indiana. Oh yeah, people are coming here. They're moving back from Texas. They weren't born in Texas then. Because they would see the math and be like, that doesn't make any sense. There's somebody who probably moved from California, got to Texas. Texas ain't big enough. So they're like, let me go to a mini New York, but not all the way New York. Let me go to Chicago. But the data doesn't support them going in droves. It's just the people that leave California that go, shit, this is kind of boring. I got a great house, but it's boring, right? Or they're moving thinking they're going to get appreciation in these different cities. They're not going to get it. They're just not. So what they're going to do, you're going to start seeing these little laws pop up in these old cities where everybody's leaving. New Jersey been tolling y'all to death. New Jersey has had a net loss migration for over 25 years. And their taxes still going up. And this guy was saying he's in not Long Island. He's in not Staten Island. What's that other place? Not Hoboken. It's over New Jersey. It's across the water, right? And he was saying how they're closing schools. And he's like, but I see kids. Less kids in general are over there. It's older people who keep in their homes. They're not selling them. They're not downsizing because it don't make sense to. If they're going to downsize the house, they're going to go to Florida. If they downsize the house, they're going to go somewhere else. They're not going to stay. So these places are losing what? Population. They're losing kids, right? Right now, what has been going on that's everybody been crying about in California? Y'all been harassing them immigrants and now there's less kids at the school. Y'all been harassing them immigrants and so there's less kids in parts of Georgia, Florida, Texas, and some of these areas. But the schools are saying, man, y'all saving us billions of dollars on hiring extra teachers who speak Spanish, who will do ESL classes, who will stay after school to tutor to get these kids caught up. It's a yin and a yang. Like I told y'all, private schools are going to increase. Homeschooling is going to increase. They had like 100,000 additional Black families do homeschooling the last 2 years in a row. So 100,000 this year, 100,000 last year. Why? Because they not going to let their Black children deal with raggedies. They're not going to do it. They're not going to let their Black sons fall for a broke Becky. They're not going to do it. They're going to segregate their family away from this. With stuff like this, pay attention. You're going to see, even if I'm not doing this channel for the rest of the year, you never know. Whatever happens, I don't care. I promise you're going to see more news like this. Oh, we're not stopping you from driving. We're not limiting your miles. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. It's a tax. They're going to figure out how can we get more money back into the cities. Same way when they tried to force people to go back to the office. Either you're going to quit or you're going to come back to this office. Which one you want to do? Most people quit. Okay, I'll just have to quit. That's cool. Like if that's what I got to do, I got to quit, right? So I just want y'all to pay attention to stuff like this because they're closing the door behind you. And many of y'all acting like playing dumb, acting dumb. This ain't the time. This really ain't the time to play dumb at all. And I mean it. Okay. Now I'm going to say this one more time about reading. I have two things. I gotta do it again about reading. I know y'all tired of hearing me talk about reading, but we have to address this. Is the elephant in the room. It's really one of the problems.
It's because church attendance is also down. Can we talk about it? The Black church has always been a third literary space for Black families and Black children, especially to get that extra reading support. When you think about Sunday school and children's church and vacation Bible school, who's in charge of that ministry normally? Teachers, certified teachers who are teaching in a neighborhood or in some, school that's not far, right? And so like those were always spaces for me to get like extra support with reading. And then you're reading scriptures and you're trying to interpret them. That's comprehension, right? And so I think if schools aren't doing enough, we got to continue to find those third literary spaces for our kids to practice reading. Another reason why kids today are struggling to read.
So I go to Kev on Stage and several Christian comedian shows, and half the people in the audience don't get the jokes. Like, I'm not disrespecting. They're hilarious. Kev on Stage is hilarious. EJ, all these people are hilarious. But I will sit in the audience. I'm sitting there. I'm like enjoying it. I'm laughing. I'll look over to my left and right, and half of the people ain't laughing. They don't get it. And he'll always make a joke like, some of y'all weren't raised in church. Stick your hands up. And people stick their hands up. And I'm like, there it is. They don't have that 1990s, not Halloween, but Hallelujah night. They don't have these moments where they force you to stand up and read. You'd go to vacation Bible school. You had to read some more. You go over here, read. Everybody get your Bibles. We're going to read out loud. And I went to a very upper middle class church growing up. And you can see it in Fayetteville if you ever come by. It's called Lewis Chapel. But it literally, you stand up, you read. You stand up, you sing. You read the words on the TV while you're singing, right? You there was just so many times you had to read. And if you acted up and you weren't paying attention, then they made you read. So there was never an opportunity in this third space where you could not read or somebody didn't know you couldn't read, right? At church, we read the passage together, right? Like everybody turn in your Bible, right? You never just sat there in church and just whatever you say. No, you to turn in your Bible to Ezekiel, turn in your Bible to Leviticus, turn in your Bible. And so when people act like, oh, people don't need church, people don't need this, people need structure. And I get it. People have been hurt by church. People have been, stuff has happened to them. And again, I tell y'all, if y'all mom felt comfortable in a little hole in the wall, pimp preacher church, you got to take that up with your mama. I know y'all don't like me saying that, but you got to take that up with your mama. Because that's the problem. You upset about something that ain't got nothing to do with the church. That's with your mom. She felt comfortable there. You need to question what's going on with her. Why you like sitting here listening to pimps? What's going on, mama? You got to find out what's going on there, okay? So then I'm going to play this part, and I played it before, but I'm going to play it again. It's important.
What every educator in the field is noticing is a dramatic decline in basic critical reasoning skills and basic literacy skills among students. This is particularly pronounced among high school age students, where they're engaging with more complex material and can't grasp basic concepts or manage basic memory about those concepts. And what this is creating is a generation entering the workforce without basic comprehension skills that is going to make it very hard for them to keep and maintain any form of employment. On the inverse of this, we're seeing kids in more affluent families being not only pulled out of the public school system and sent to things like Montessori schools, but being pulled away from technology, not given access to anything more than, say, a TV or a video game station until they're a teenager. No tablets, no phones, things like that. And what they're doing to fill their time instead is the normal childhood stuff of playing outside, reading a book, coloring sheets. All of these things that seem like play, but are actually building soft skills that make someone much better able to navigate the world around them as they get older. The gap is not going to be who can use AI and who cannot. The gap is not going to be who is an all-star on the ACT with a full ride and who is not. The gap is going to be who can reason in a basic way and who cannot. And those that cannot will probably be left behind. The class divide of the future is going to be who can read and critically think. And
I just want to play that for you because that's every teacher right now online. Like, do you understand what's happening? Now I'm gonna play this for you too as well. I want you to read this. Okay. Hopefully this is big enough on the screen. What if letting your children choose their hobbies is the reason they never become exceptional? Middle class parents ask their kids what they feel like doing. Rich parents don't. This is so important If you ever meet anybody Asian, and I'm not being funny, ask them, do they play piano? Ask them if they play violin. Is 99% of chance it's gonna be yes. It's gonna be yes. It's just gonna be yes. Okay, so tennis lessons aren't optional. Piano isn't optional. Language class is not optional. To outsiders, it looks strength. To wealthy families, it's strategy. Also, you got to realize when they have money, how can they enforce good behavior? Certain type of things, right? Elite parents don't see hobbies as entertainment. They see mental programming, piano, pattern recognition, chess, strategic thinking. My nephew beats me in chess and checkers. And he's 10. I've been so rusty one time. I said, oh damn, I got beat. So after that, I had to like, okay, let's come on. Try me again. I'm ready now. I'm ready. Right? Sports, resilience, and grit. These aren't activities, they're advantages. When I got beat in tennis, sometimes I would be so mad. And we were one of the schools I went to before I went to my last school was a predominantly Black school. So our tennis team was predominantly Black. We had an Asian girl and a half Vietnamese, half Black girl, and they were so great. They were whooping up everybody, but the rest of our team, we struggled. Now, eventually I got so better that I was on varsity, but then I had to move schools. So again, it's one of these things. Structure builds discipline. Discipline creates competence. Competence creates confidence. Confidence creates opportunity. That's not luck. That's design. So what you have out here is all these kids talking about bullying every day. Your kids should not go to school and feel so low or so lacking of confidence that they can't speak up for themselves. They can't turn around and say, stop it. They can't turn around and ball their fist up. That starts at home. That starts at home. Y'all don't want to hear that, but that it does. All these parents talking about these kids are soft. Them kids are staying up whenever they want. They don't have no strict bedtime. They don't have a time they got to wash their butt. They don't have a time they have to eat dinner with y'all in a group and talk about what was their day. Most people are on zombie mode. They just are. And so when there was a guy whose son came home and unalived himself. And he was like, these schools need to be held accountable. Well, then they asked his wife in the interview what happened. And his wife goes, well, I went up to the school like 3 times. And the dad had that face kind of like unaware, but aware. And I was like, that right there is the problem. The 3rd time going up to school, the son should have been moved from the school to homeschool. The son should have been moved from school to another school. My parent moved me out of schools and I got to go to private school. You have to make a sacrifice. Somebody has to sacrifice. And when you don't make that sacrifice, guess who gets sacrificed? The kid. And nobody wants to say that because that's, oh no, Erica, don't say that. But that's the truth. People are sacrificing their kid because it's inconvenient to move. It's inconvenient to go to a different permit. It's inconvenient. The school better get a handle on it. They better go to school and fight somebody. Like your kid is a pudgy pod. Your kid is a SpongeBob SquarePants. You ain't took them to one karate class, one confidence building soccer team, one any sport. They don't know how to fight. They don't even know how to ball their fist up. And y'all like, they better go to school and fight. But fight how? And who? Anyway, let me keep on the lines. Because people are like, no, Erica, don't say that. Don't say anything. You can't say anything to parents. Don't talk to parents that way. They're tired. Nobody told you to sign up for that program for 18 years. Nobody did. If you over 25 when you had them, baby, you know how babies are made. Okay. Every forced practice session secretly trains consistency, frustration tolerance, focus under pressure, and long-term thinking. This is very, very important. Because most people, if they start losing, they quit. One time I quit on a game of tennis, and my coach made me go back out there before we could write off the little card and say I just gave up the last 3. No, she's going to finish. And I just did. I didn't have a choice. I was losing, but I had to go. Right? So you have to be able to focus under pressure. You have to be able to think under pressure. And sports is why a lot of parents put their kids in the sports for that. But music also does that. You know what I'm saying? Dance does that. Now, critics will say it crushes creativity. Structure in childhood creates freedom in adulthood. Untrained freedom is chaos. Discipline foundation is power. Whether you want to understand it or not, a lot of Asian and immigrant families who force their kids to go in these careers they do not like, and it's something we don't agree about, but they do not like, what ends up happening is they start in that career, they make so much money in that career, they go, I want to do something else, and I'm willing to sacrifice the money and go somewhere else. They can do it because they sacrifice the front part. Right. I remember when I lived with the financial analyst and the engineer, they were going to Spain. They were going to Argentina. They were doing trips all the time. And I was like, good gracious. But they had been in these heavy, stressful careers as white women for a long time. Over 10 years at that point. So it's like, what are you doing with your money? They won't eat their money for sure. They was traveling with it. But again, digress. Okay. Passion appears after competence. Competence. Can I speak? I don't know. You rarely love what you're bad at. You love what you become great at. Okay. Let me keep going. Kids who try everything often master nothing. They learn quitting. They learn boredom. They learn inconsistency. Specialization builds identity. Identity builds excellence. Now, I fussed with one of my family members because their son started karate and quit. And I say, of course it's boring. When you start karate, they're making you do the kid stuff. You have to keep going so you can be a karate master, right? Like, you have to do that. And now, as they're older, I can tell them without a doubt, that's one of the softest adults I know. Oh, this happened. Nobody's helping me. And I'm like, when I think back on where I'm like, it started when you let them decide. They didn't want to play, they didn't want to do karate, they didn't want to do this. There's no emphasis on forcing a follow through. Okay. They're chasing comfort, right? They're chasing the softness. You got all these men out here chasing soft life. That one meme where they're like, brother, you got soft hands and you don't work in no office. Why you got soft hands, brother? Let me go to the other thing. Anyway, it talks about elite families raise kids to dominate. The different compounds for life. You can always look at more of this. But anyway, let me go into the next. Now, why does this matter? Because a lot of people are going to get stuck doing this. Fighting coworkers who are being disrespectful. And I don't mean physically fighting. I just mean in general. So here we go.
I'm getting fired. Number 3 is lethal. Level 1, playing dumb. When they say something slick, you lean in, you ask, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you explain what you meant by that joke? Watch them stutter when they have to explain the disrespect. Level 2, look at them in the eye and say, that's an interesting perspective. Let me send an email recap of this conversation so we're on the same page. Watch how fast they backpedal. Number 3, the most dangerous one, you say nothing. You stare, you let the silence get uncomfortable, then you smirk, and then get back to work. You just prove that they are beneath your response. Save this video for Friday morning when people are on that BS. You're gonna need it. 3.
So you literally have people out here training people how to deal with disrespect. That's crazy, y'all. And I get it. Some people have to, but again, let me go to this part. This is why I played that to play this. What we've seen play out with Shador Sanders is very important. I really want y'all. I want people to understand why it's important. They act like, oh, it's not a big deal. It is.
That has worked in majority white spaces can relate to what Shador Sanders is going through. You are overqualified for your position already. In fact, you have applied internally for other positions, for promotions several times. You even have experience in the position you're applying for. Like, you volunteered sometimes in that position so that your resume was ready when you applied for that internal position. But when the opportunity came to get that promotion and to select somebody, they completely overlook you for somebody else, for a white person that didn't even want the job. But because they didn't want your black butt in that leadership position, they didn't give it to you. See, racism ain't just visually what we see as somebody, a white person being against a black person, and it's ensuring that a certain type of black person doesn't have success. See, we can relate to Shador as black folks who have had professional experience in white spaces, because if you are a black person whose very presence can change the environment that you walk in when you're in a white space, you are the one that they don't want to have that promotion. Because you are a black person that's going to be true to who you are and true to your community and true to your integrity. They can't stand Shador, not just because he's black, but because he's black, he's bold, he's brilliant, he's bodacious. And he was raised by somebody who had that same type of aura. Shador was having a historic game, y'all. He was almost at 400 yards. He threw for 3 touchdowns. He's a rookie. He just started playing. Y'all, every black professional can relate to this. I just need y'all to remember, because I've been through this. I've seen this. I've experienced it. It's not you, it's them. It's not you, it's them. I need y'all to say that with me. It's not me, it's them. If you can relate to Shador, and you feel it a little too much, I need you to keep in mind that you should be creating something on the side. Create something on the side, or keep your options up. If you're not the type of person that wants to maybe be an entrepreneur, keep looking on the side. Keep searching for that way out, because you need to be in a place where you are appreciated, and you deserve to be in a place where you are appreciated. And as a cultural competency consultant that works with organizations, I have to be honest sometimes with the folks who bring me in and let them know that a vital aspect of changing the culture at your company, organization, or school rests upon your ability to let that person go that is creating a dysfunctional culture, aka in this situation, the coach. Every Black professional that has
Okay, so why did I show you that? Why have I been saying that? If anybody can relate to that, put a 1 in the comments. I shared that video because I want you guys to understand, like, the reason people are rooting so hard for Shador. He's a wealthy kid. This is just a dream level at this point. He qualified. He has the skill, and it's a dream at this point, right? Why shouldn't he be able to perform, right? But we've all worked at a place, and I when I worked at different agencies in Austin for property management, it was kind of like either you're gonna be white girl Texas, ha ha ha, kiki, everybody's kiki, and they're all friends, or you're getting out of there. Millennial manager Brandy, I think Brandy or millennial manager or something, right? She's hilarious. She does a lot of cussing, so I can't share her. There's too much cussing. But she always talks about how she's in HR and she'd be like, F that job. And I always want y'all to understand, like, I'm not going to say F that job, right? But I'm going to say you should be, if you're a Black person in any position of management, any job that's paying over 80K a year, you need to be actively figuring out if you're going to have a rental property. You need to be actively figuring out how to put more money in your stock accounts. You need to actively be putting money to the side. There's so many military people who have gotten on the phone with me, and the military is supposed to be like by the rules. They've even had to come back and apologize for all the Black people and Latino people they kicked out of the military, and they put that stuff on your record and messed up their job opportunities, right? You have to understand, like, there is a systematic thing, even in the comments. Like, Deion Sanders goes, Lord Jesus. That's all he says, and he don't comment no more. But if you read a lot of the comments, the white people are like, you guys, that's in your mind. If you have a thought process like that, it's in your mind. And I have white friends, and we will literally have a conversation. I'm like, you know what's going on? And they're like, yes. I have white friends, they have adopted Black children. They're already mentally going, I see the difference on how people talk and act. I see how they act. Like, my friend was just standing at school, and some other parent said some smart comment to this Black guy, and the Black guy's like, that ain't my kid. My friend had to walk over and be like, those are my kids. What's the problem? And you have to realize they're already, some stuff is so built in. People are like, oh, you're being too sensitive. Y'all, if you have to keep going to work and telling people that's incorrect, that's not polite, that's whatever, right? And I've seen a lot of white guys on YouTube go, well, you know, they hate hiring Black people because you can't even tell a joke anymore. What's the joke? That's sometimes you have to ask them, well, what's the joke? It's one thing if it's an all man office, it's 9 men and one woman comes into work, right? But 9 times out of 10, most offices are mixed now. So you always have to ask, what's the joke? And so I just want you to understand, there's nothing worse to me than having people who are mediocre, talentless, try to tell somebody how they need to do their job. I could never. I say this often, and I know it's offensive. Somebody told me I was being offensive, but I'm like, I go to too many conferences with business owners who got 5 to 10 million a year, and they are dummies. They're a mediocre Brad, Chad, Tad, and all they do, okay, all they do is be like, yeah, man, I hired a person, and this is perfect. I just make sure they do the job. You know what I mean? Like, it always irritates me because I already know there's some Black person that works for them or works inside the corporation that's more talented than them, that's smarter than them, but maybe they don't have the money or maybe they don't have the discipline. Right now, one of the things that everybody's getting pissed off about lately is the Mr. Tenderism, Mr. Tenderize, or whatever how you say it. And he's a really amazing cook, but they thought he owned the business. So, you know, people are going all across the country. Kind of find out it's a white owner and he's a business partner with him. Now, I tell people all the time, everybody's not made to be a business owner. He may be getting a 70-30, 60-40 cut on the business, but he is the mascot. He's the face of the business. And long as that man is paying that man well, I'm okay with it. Because we never know. When I meet Black people over 65 to 80, they lived in a whole different America. So their thoughts of owning businesses, their thoughts of wanting to do stuff, I get it. They just want their money and go home, right? Mr. Dabbling, who's that? Bob Dabbling? Okay. I don't even fight on it because I understand they're in a different mindset. And if their mastery has been they're a great cook, great. Ask them about cooking and stuff. But when y'all be asking y'all grandmas who make great pies about business, I just be looking at y'all confused. Like, I know y'all not retarded. What's going on? Why you asking your grandma all this complicated stuff? You know she don't know, baby. So it's just sometimes you have to sit there and go, I hope if you go to work and they're treating you like crap, instead of coming on Facebook and complaining and crying, just remember every paycheck, you can put more away. You can invest more. You can invest in housing. This is why Bigger Pockets, Lifestyles Unlimited, all these groups know they got to start marketing to y'all because y'all are pissed at work and y'all want to get out of there, but you can't figure out how to get out of there. Okay. So let me go here. We're going to finally talk about, what we should have been talking about, which is US versus China. Oh, whoops, sorry. I'm at Venezuela. US and Venezuela. Let me correct my mouth. All right. So this says, who made United States the police of the world? And this is so important. The entire world did. The US almost had the whole entire world on salary. In 30 years, they gave out $1.3 trillion in aid to the world. That is the GDP of the whole Ghana, 16 times over, Kenya, 12 times over, Nigeria, 3 times over. They're the top donors to the United Nations at 28%. They're the top donators to who? Around 15%. They're the ones with the largest financial commitment in IMF at 17%. Keep going, sorry. They give money, bilateral relationships, country to country, right? Not even talking about how many people come to America and spend the next 50 years of their life sending money home every freaking day, every week. Cash App Shorty. Cash Apping people all around the world because they're in America. So more than that has gone out. You might as well 3x that. Mexico, 2/3 of Mexico's GDP is us. And y'all idiots be online talking about, I'm moving to Mexico. Okay. All right. Sure. Good luck with that. You sound retarded. I'm going to Canada as Canadians are running across the border escaping. Okay. Good luck with that. 80% of the money goes to things like education, healthcare, social development. They pay the largest to NATO's defense budget, around 70%. So Europe can be safe with their dumb selves, project power, and keep balance in geopolitical scale. Okay. And that is why America feels it is the leader of the free world. They are paying for it at the cost of their national treasury. They are in debt, but they keep paying. If the world wants American interventionism to stop, let's bring as much financial stake to the international table. In international politics, the one paying you is controlling you. You can't have one without the other. That is why the U.S. feels it can police the world. It's like guarding the enterprise they're paying for. When Britain was all up in India was clean. India was functional. When Britain was in parts of Africa, clean, functional trains. They asked the guy now why the trains don't work. Oh, no one knew how to work the trains after the British left. The British didn't leave like that. The British trained people. They trained people underneath them. They trained the Egyptians to run the power plants. And the power plants kept having problems. Why? Because somebody always thinks it's somebody else's job. The only country in the world where people think it's everybody's job is Japan. Japan picking up trash and taking it away. There ain't no trash cans. When you go to Japan, ain't no trash cans. Why? Take your trash to your house and throw it away. We're not going to just litter. You're going to go inside that 7-Eleven, make your food, and throw it in the trash in there. Everybody's job is to pick up. Everybody's job is to clean up. Japan's kindergarten, my friends who have been stationed there for 8 years now, they're like, they make the kids clean up for kindergarten. They ain't learning words and English and writing. They're cleaning up. They get their own lunch ready. They clean up the cafeteria when they're done. They clean up the play areas when they're done. They're taught cleaning and manners are the most important. So people keep forgetting, like, I want America to stay out of people's business. The Somalians wouldn't be here if America won't dig it in their business. Yeah, but all your cousins are sending billions of dollars home to Somalia. Why can't Somalia get it together? They done sent home 13 billion. How much more do you need? Let's get it together. Okay. So let's get into a little more darker. Brace yourself. A little more darker. It just is what it is. We got to go a little darker. But let's go ahead. All right, let's get into it.
$17+ trillion at the current market value. Now, here's the part you're not being told. We don't need the oil. Have you noticed the gas prices? They keep coming down. China needs the oil. China buys 60 to 90% of all of Venezuela's crude exports, now not going to China. How is China going to be able to power all of their electricity needs? And what else has been destabilized this weekend? Iran. They buy 85 to 90% of all of the oil in Iran, and those are huge oil reserves as well. If Iran and Venezuela fall at the same time, China loses 70% of its non-US regulated oil supply. You lose 70%. What else can't you do? Well, you can't go into Taiwan. You can't have AI dominance. There's no BRICS reserve currency. Absolutely, it's about oil, but not for us. That's why this matters, and that's only one piece of this. Drugs, the cartel of the Suns, one of the nastiest cartels, and it is run by the generals of the government of Venezuela. Is this about drugs? Yes. Terror. We've talked about the island off the coast of Venezuela that is in bed with China, Russia, and Iran. And Hezbollah actually comes and trains Venezuelans to be a part of this cartel, and they use all of the tactics of Islamic terror. Is it about...
Are you awake yet? Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe or follow and share this with a friend. Watch this.
America First thing I have ever seen. Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves on Earth. 300.
Sorry, people are in the background talking to me. But okay, so listen. Come on. I can keep going. Let me go one more. And we're gonna. Of course, Trump captured Venezuelan communist president. Again, he's actually not supposed to be the president, because they voted in a different president last year, and he just said, I'm gonna arrest that man. So Venezuela has a different president. He's just under arrest and he's been exiled out the country. So they have a president, just not this one. Okay, the one we've picked up is not that one. Okay, $17 trillion in oil reserves. Okay, Venezuela has 303 billion barrels of crude oil, which the U.S. now controls. At 57 a barrel, that's $17 trillion in value. Even selling it at half makes it 8 trillion, right? That's almost a third of the national debt secured in 12 hours. Now, here's my problem with this. Venezuela, Cuba, all of them. Cuba's luscious, but they having food problems. It's somebody else's job. It's collectively someone else's job to feed us. It's collectively somebody's job to have a farm, to have chickens. It's the government's job. Well, no, he lost the election, but he actually took the man. Like he said, oh no, that man's arrested now. The man ran for exile. He's actually in America, which is crazy. But what you have to understand, what's out here going on is the Monroe Doctrine. I can go deep into a whole conversation, but I'm gonna kind of keep it balanced for the sake of time. These countries below us are banana republics because if they have this much money, we ought to go to Venezuela and it ought to look like streets of fucking gold. It ought to look like fat people having 6 kids. Like the Saudis, say what you want about the Saudis. Say what you want about Yemen. Say what you want about the princes and all that over the top Range Rovers driving in the desert Dubai stuff. They at least cut a check to their people. Now, before Gaddafi got killed like that, shame on Obama, but I'm gonna keep pushing. Their people were getting $5,000 when they had a baby. They were getting donations. They were getting help have a housing. They were being well cared for. Now their country looked like poo-poo platter. He was building. Let me stop. I'm gonna get out of Gaddafi because I don't want that drama. I'll say that for another video and put it behind the paywall. But I want you to understand, when people don't understand, is you could stay in power if you made your people in your country fat and rich. You're not going to Dubai cutting up. You're not going to Saudi Arabia cutting up. You're not going to Qatar and cutting up. You're not going in these people places and cutting up because they will cut your hand off. They will cane you, cut your hand off, and you go into jail with one hand. You just ain't playing there. Like, people leave those Mercedes Benz, those Ferraris, all that stuff at the airport in Dubai because they ain't playing. Oh, you in debt? You ain't planning to pay it back? Stick your hand out, cutting your hand off. You're going to jail. Now you got to come out of jail, pay your debt with one hand. So when people say, I can't believe they picked that man up, that was so cruel. What's crueler is the Venezuelan people on average losing weight and running across the border to Colombia, and women prostituting themselves in Colombia when they got a country full of oil. Stop playing with the petrodollar, because we're going to come get you. It's in our hemisphere. Nobody can really say nothing in America right now because it's in our hemisphere. It's in our hemisphere. They're going to be like, well, what can you say? What can you say? Nothing. Now they can say something about that oil tanker we grabbed. Now, that's Russia's oil tanker. And they running out of Dodge with all the oil they could carry on the way out. I want America to let that oil tanker go. We don't want that smoke. We don't want it. We got plenty of oil. Let them go. Let them go. Let me go here. But this is more than a securing oil, ending drugs, or stopping terrorism. It's about protecting the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. 1974, Harry Kissinger, if you need to Google, made a deal with Saudi Arabia. All the oil sold globally must be priced in U.S. dollars. Now, you like Saudi Arabia. Why would they agree to this? Because, baby, we would have bombed them in 1974 to death, okay? China was hours away from ending this, okay? China was on the verge of making the yuan the new world currency. They built CIPS, an alternative to SWIFT, and onboarded 4,800 banks globally. BRICS system, bypassing the dollar, which really BRICS has been around for 50 years. It ain't doing nothing. Russia secretly sold oil in yuan, something like that. I think it's yuan. China even met with Venezuela Maduro the same day Trump invaded. See, China had just got that signature on that paper. And when them Chinese officials got on that plane and left, boy, they went up in there and said, come on, get your way up out of here. Get on out of here. Trump stopped it just in time. Now, Trump didn't do this. The powers that be did this, but let's keep it pushing. This isn't the first time someone challenged the petrodollar. 2000, Saddam said Iraq will sell oil in euros. Bam, 3 years later, Saddam gone. Okay. 2009, Gaddafi said, we're going to do gold back African country. Boom, 2 years later, Gaddafi gone. 2025, Maduro tries to sell oil in yuan. 2026, boom, under our control. Mess with the dollar, disappear every single time. Every single time. In one move, America just secured the largest oil reserves on earth. And let's be very clear. We got a ton in Texas. Between Texas, what we call the T of America, Texas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, North Dakota, and I'm missing a state. They got so much oil and gas, it's ridiculous. We'll never dig it up, and we will never run out if we want to deal, but we don't want to frack too much. We shouldn't. And there should never be any fracking in North Carolina, because North Carolina is the number one state in the whole country with more wells, more aquifers than any other state. I will show y'all the proof of this. They do documents on this all the time. That's why when y'all keep acting like, who moving to North Carolina? Lots of people, because we have what? Water, as far as I can see. When I tell y'all about the water wars, why is 17 different farms in North and just in North Carolina? It's really 107, but we'll keep it for the conversation. 17 farms bought out in North Carolina because we have water. We have water. China's like, we need that stuff in North Carolina. Okay. That's part of what happened to Asheville, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Fuel for the 10 trillion AV plus EV boom. Energy dominance over China. Oh, why ending the nightmare Venezuelans have lived for years. 2026 will be the biggest financial boom in U.S. history. There's so much I want to say, but I'm gonna keep it pushing. I just want y'all to understand. Okay. Yeah, water ain't free in Dubai. I want you to understand. When I told y'all money printer go burr, Alaska. Money printer go burr. Okay. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Money printer go burr. When I told y'all house builders are going to be so rich it stinks. Farmers going to be so rich it's going to be ridiculous. Everybody's like, oh, Erica, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, baby, you ain't reading. You're not reading what they putting down. They saying They about to make the money printer in America go burr. They gonna be Donald Trump gonna be throwing hundreds in the White House in front of China's face during meetings. The most counterfeit bill in the world is $100 bill in other countries. That's why they don't let y'all use them over there. They make you, if you go travel overseas, try to use 100. Try. They gonna look at you like you a pimp, a prisoner, a arrestee, a gang member. Like, did she just give us 100? What the hell are you doing? Try it. Don't take my word for it. Travel overseas and try to use 100. They gonna be like, even if the restaurant bill is $95, they gonna be like, get that out of here. Okay, get it out of here. Keep it pushing. We don't know what you're doing. It's crime. We don't want to do it. And it says, what can 17.3 trillion do for the United States? Eliminate income taxes, fuel AI and energy boom, erase 50% of our national debt. Smart money is paying attention. Just like this invasion demonstrated, you don't want to win by doing the work. Trump didn't he didn't drill Venezuelan oil. Listen, all this goes back to them saying, they make websites and they rank them. Emergency plumber in Utah, roof repair in Dallas, kitchen remodeling in Phoenix. You already know what time it is. They got to promote their stuff too. And Derek and Dakota have bought several Instagram pages. So good luck with that, right? Let me show you this right here. This is the next part. Where's the other video? I had a good one. Where did it go? Hold on. I had another one. Dang it. Oh, okay. I found it. Hold on a second. I got it. I found it. Okay. I'm going to read it to y'all. Hold on. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to get it to you. Our boy Robert the Kiyosaki. Robert the smoking crack Kiyosaki. Hold on a second. I might have to go back. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, here it is. Boom, there it is. But okay, let me finish reading this. Hopefully y'all can see this. Let me make sure y'all seeing this. Okay, y'all. Okay. Trump just signed the $1 trillion defense budget. The biggest spending increase in military spending since World War II. Next generation weapons, homeland security, smart wall, Golden Dome, manufacturing onshore, minerals banned from China. Now I'm gonna let y'all go find that. I'm gonna just get out of there. Y'all can go look it up for yourself. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't doing it. You can read it for yourself. Where's it at? Where is it at? Okay, here it is. Let me show you this. I'm gonna read it to you. This is Robert Kiyosaki. Okay. I'm gonna read this to you. Okay. Bill Gates is buying farmland. China is buying farmland. This should get your attention. Because when two very different power centers agree on one asset, it's worth asking why. Bill Gates owns 270,000 acres of U.S. farmland. Not tech stocks, not crypto, not startups, dirt. At the same time, China has steadily been acquiring U.S. farmland, hundreds of thousands of acres, often through layered entities and long-term structures. This isn't coincidence. It's positioning. Smart money moves quietly. Pension funds are doing the same. So are insurance companies. So are sovereign wealth funds. These institutions don't chase trends. They protect capital. And they're protecting the one thing you can't print. Food is becoming strategic. Oil is being used to be, Oil used to be the ultimate leverage. Oil built the dollar. Oil powers empires. Oil moves markets. But oil now has substitutes. Food does it. 8 billion people need to eat every day. No alternatives, no upgrades. Meanwhile, arable land is shrinking. Water is scarcer. Topsoil is disappearing. Supply chains are fragile. That makes farmland a productive asset, not a speculative one. When systems are stressed, real capital doesn't hide. It repositions. It moves into assets that produce cash flow, sever basic human need, survive policy change, outlast financial cycles. Farmland checks every box. That's why smart money is comfortable owning it for decades. I'm not saying you need to buy a farm tomorrow. I am saying this. Start thinking like someone who wants durability, not excitement. Watch what wealthy people do with large money. They don't buy farmland for fun. They buy it because it's real, productive, and resilient. And resilience is one of the most optimistic strategies there is. Financial education isn't about predicting disaster. It's about owning assets that work in any environment. When you own things that feed people, house people, and solve real problems, you're not speculating, you're building something that lasts. And that's how real wealth is created. Now, why did I read that to you? Okay. It was a little bit long. All right. Why did I read that to you? And that's what I'm really wrapping the show with is what's happening in front of our eyes. You know, we made fun of all the homestead folks, and y'all have family members, every single one of you do, who they're not as productive as they should be. And as the economy gets funny and they don't have the skills to do what you think they gonna do, what they should be doing, which is increasing and improving and getting better, they're gonna look to you to help. You're gonna see more and more stories of families got 4 or 5 people living in a house, and then mama got shot, daddy got shot, something happened. You're gonna see more and more stories of families living next door and ADUs and moms in the backyard and a nice shed. It's an ADU, whatever, right? You're gonna see more and more of that. But let's say you own a farm, and I've got a couple friends that have farms, and you have family who are maybe not on the most productive side. Hey, you know, cousin, I got a mobile home I'm put out there real nice. I'm gonna put a truck out there. You can drive it. I'm gonna pay you about $11 an hour. You know, just do this in the morning, and then you can go on and do whatever you want for the rest of your day. That's been a trick oldest time. Every family's got somebody who wants to work the farm, keep the farm going. I've got a white friend right now, the cousin that worked the farm, he done got a stroke and nobody else wants to work it. They don't want to learn the business. They don't want to hire people over it. They're like, let's just sell it and get the money now. And that's how most people lose them, of course, family farms. People be needing the money now. J.G. Wentworth, right? They want some big money payout. Or the parent won't let go of the rights and all this other stuff, right? But what's happening is it's an asset-based game. Because if people don't want to learn stocks, they don't understand the K-shaped economy right now. If people don't want to own a house, I don't want to own a house, Erica. Cool, no problem. What assets are you going to own? People talking about buying businesses, not realizing you will need to manage them. There's a 10 to 20 hours a week you're going to have to manage those businesses or put somebody over them to manage them, right? People not ready for those conversations. They really aren't. But if you don't see nothing else from what you see, like the Somalian thing is cracking me up, not because I'm laughing about fraud, but because I've realized they literally came into the game and said, yeah, you know what? All we need is to get some of these businesses. And I'm still saving up all the terrible news articles for a Somali show. But I'm just telling y'all, most of these immigrants, the reason they're winning is they come to the United States and they do a very simple thing. Get a business on paper, put 1 or 2 family members inside that business, and then the rest of the family goes to work and be productive. That wasn't even grammatically correct, but be productive, right? Like everybody has a part to play. When they ask African American people, why don't y'all live in these big houses and save money on rent? Because you're gonna have too many people in the house not working hard, not contributing, not buying groceries, not understanding, keeping the noise down. Don't smoke weed in the house. Act like you got some sense. That's why they can't do it. That's why they can't do it. That's why they lose grandma's house. But I'm just telling you, if you're an African-American person in this country, you're struggling in corporate America, you're struggling to own a business, you're struggling, you don't want to do anything. Like, baby, what is your utility? Everybody has to have utility. It ain't just a man. It ain't just a woman. What do you bring to the table? All that silly talk, all that distraction talk. I'm telling y'all, get rid of it this year. Anybody you meet this year doing bad, you need to separate yourself from them because there really is no excuse and there is no reason and no rhyme for it. Well, Erica, sometimes people have a bad year. They have a stroke. Shaniqua that came on the show. She's in California. She had a stroke. She lost 25 pounds and she was in the hospital for 20 days. She sold 4 houses while she was in the hospital because she had a team. She'd been building and working on this team for years. And so every time somebody goes, Erica, people don't want to listen. You need a team. You need a system and work the system. Okay. I hate talking in this way. And she's only 42 years old and she's a beautiful woman. We've seen her on the channel. I'll put the videos up here, I think tomorrow on the community wall. I told them to go dig in the channel. I can't find the video, but Shaniqua Badger, she's out there in California, in Oakland, one of the highest selling agents out there, make multiple awards. She had a stroke. Now, it didn't, she can't drive right now, but she can talk, she can do all the stuff. It just isn't smooth, right? But imagine selling 4 houses in California while you in the hospital recovering because your team picked up the slack and just closed the deal for you. Y'all have to understand, like the only way for a lot of Black people to thrive is they're gonna be owning these living assistant homes, these group homes. They're gonna be managing people who can run the group home, or they're gonna be managing people who can run the HVAC company. They're gonna be managing the guys who can do plumbing, right? It has to shake up. A lot of Black people don't realize what's coming down the pipeline. Like, if you don't have any assets, it's about to be really, really rough. And digital, like these videos showing in the background, is an asset, right? We talk about a lot of it in Digital Liberty Warriors, right? When y'all see the ads running, screenshot them for me, tag me on Instagram. But I'm telling you, like, you have to get out there. You have to speak to people who can connect with you, who can want to do business with you. If you out here on YouTube talking about everything's a scam, everything's a grift, I already look at those Black people as left behind. They're not gonna make it, y'all. Everything's a scam. No, baby, you can't read. Your critical thinking's down. I'm so sorry. I'm real sorry. But yeah, I don't want to gloss over the China, Israel thing, Venezuela thing, but China put a lot of money into Venezuela. They claimed about 100 billion. They also built some refineries, like a really expensive one in 2023. They had a game plan. America just came in and said, "You know what I'm gonna do? Psych, no game plan for you." So I just want to share that with y'all. That was the show today. Woo! Getting ready to take a little break, but I may see y'all on Friday from the beaches. Who knows? We'll see. But ultimately, I want y'all, if y'all don't get nothing else from this channel, and even when I'm gone on break, even when I'm working on my project, like, this is the year. As well as I can say it, as well as I can explain it, this is the year to go. Whatever you're planning on, whatever you're doing, this is the year. You got a good 24-month window. And I've said it before, like, oh, winter's coming. Winter came. Winter came in 2021, or I would say 2022 to 2024. Winter took out a lot of people on the digital side, easy money side, easy business side. Now, whoever survived in 2025, they got the business acumen, they got the grit, they survived. Right? Builders that held on, they good. So good luck out there. Good luck to all of you. You guys have a great evening. It's your girl Erica, Class Clown Blog. If you enjoyed the channel, hit the like button on the way out. Really appreciate it. You guys have a great night.
Whether you're launching a business or leveling up your personal finances, Williams Accounting and Tax Services has you covered. From book cleanup and tax prep to strategic advisory, business setup, and our empowering tax academy, we're a full-service accounting firm. I'm Brandy Williams, an IRS enrolled agent with over 20 years experience. Visit us at williamsacttax.com. We look forward to working with you.